She had 4 cans. I am Chris with the Joshi Wrestling Recap for TJPW May 3rd, 2022, available on Wrestle Universe. TJPW had their big show for Golden Week at a sold-out Korakuen Hall and put on a really good show. The Princess Tag titles and Princess title were defended, there was a retirement ceremony, and a special guest from AEW took part in a tag match. This was a multi-camera show with English and Japanese commentary, and the Up Girls started the show with a song and dance like normal. The first match was a Princess Tag Championship match between Majirabi, Yuka Sakazaki, Mizuki versus the team of Free Wi-Fi, Hikari Noa, and Naoki Kakuta. It is rare for a title match to open a show, but Yuka Sakazaki had to catch a flight to the US, so the match was moved to the start. If ineffective refs make you mad, you probably should not watch this match. Free Wi-Fi are consistent rule breakers. Although in Japan for title matches, the refs pretty much let the wrestlers do what they want. This was a good match, and Free Wi-Fi had a game plan. You could see what Free Wi-Fi was planning even before the bell rang. Hikari Noa and Naoki Kakuta were messing with corner pads. Then the match started and almost immediately made its way to the floor, and Free Wi-Fi isolated Mizuki on the outside, throwing her all around. In a 4D chest move, Naoki Kakuta had removed a neutral corner pad to distract the ref and Yuka Sakazaki, while Hikari Noa was beating up Mizuki on the outside. A chair even made an appearance, but the ref wouldn't let that go and took the chair from Hikari Noa. After all that chaos, the match made its way back in the ring mostly, and was a bit more conventional. When Yuka Sakazaki was in the match, Free Wi-Fi were having trouble dealing with her strength, as she was dishing up body slams. When Mizuki was legal, is when Hikari Noa and Naoki Kakuta put their plans into motion. Free Wi-Fi tried to replicate the series of events that got them a pin over Mizuki a few weeks ago, but Yuka Sakazaki had it scouted and broke up the pin. The fact they tried to do the same thing again made Yuka Sakazaki mad, and she was swinging the removed corner pad like a weapon, hitting Hikari Noa and Naoki Kakuta before the ref took it from her. Hikari Noa had a backup plan though and removed another corner pad and tripped Yuka Sakazaki into the exposed turnbuckle. Yuka being downed made her partner Mizuki mad, and she was just clubbing Hikari Noa with strikes. Yuka Sakazaki wasn't down for long though, and when she came to, she dealt with Naoki Kakuta with a magical merry-go-round, and that let Mizuki hit the cutie special, and she got the pinfall victory over Hikari Noa. Majirabi retained their Princess Tag titles against an unconventional team. The second match on the show was a 3-minute exhibition match and retirement ceremony for Rika Saika. Rika Saika was part of TJPW from 2016 to 2019, a former Princess Tag champ and Princess champion. Rika hadn't wrestled in over 2.5 years and decided to make her wrestling retirement official. In this 3-minute exhibition match, Rika fought Arisu Endo, who she had a history with before in the Cheer 1 dance group, and is the wrestler who gave Arisu Endo the camel clutch submission. The match started with exchanging holds and locks before Rika Saika knocked Arisu Endo down with a shoulder tackle. A body slam was followed by a camel clutch by Rika, but Arisu escaped and applied one of her own, and while time was counting down, Rika couldn't escape the submission and time expired. Time limit draw. A nice speech by Rika Saika in retirement ceremony was next. Miyu Yamashita and Yuka Sakazaki gave Rika a bouquet and a scrapbook along with hugs. Rika Saika got on the mic and said she had fun wrestling again, and that was the quickest 3 minutes of her life. She was having so much fun, the thought of not retiring crossed her mind, but she decided to close this chapter of her life. She thanked TJPW for helping her retire on her own terms. The 10-bell salute was next, and even though I started watching TJPW after Rika had already left, it still brought a couple of tears to my eyes. After streamers flew, the more tenured members of TJPW roster came to the ring and gave Rika Saika a final hug before she made her way to the back. Yuna Minase from the Ganbare wrestling promotion came to the ring to help break the tension and raise the mood. She was going to watch the next match because she would be fighting Yuki Kamifuku and Asuka aka Veni at a Ganbare wrestling show later that day, and a Mihiru Kiru a few days later. The next match was a tag match, Yuki Kamifuku with Mihiru Kiru versus a team of Neko Haruna and Kei Toribami. The match was fine, but was mostly here to help move along the stories between Mihiru Kiru, Yuki Kamifuku, and Yuna Minase. Harunu Neko and Mihiru Kiru started for their teams, and Neko went for the face scratch after they had traded holds for a bit. Harunu Neko's rope walk was interrupted though by Yuki Kamifuku reaching up and poking Neko in the eyes. After a few more face scratches, Kei Toribami and Yuki Kamifuku were tagged in. Kei Toribami was pretty smooth in the match and had a nice section where she kept dodging Yuki Kamifuku's attacks. Mihiru Kiru was the weak link for her team, and when she was in, Harunu Neko and Kei Toribami would get some offense going. But with Yuki Kamifuku's help, Mihiru was able to get the submission victory over Kei Toribami. A combination spine buster dropkick led into a Boston Crab and Kei tapped. On their way to the back, Mihiru Kyoto and Yuki Kamifuku exchanged a few words with Yuna Manase, who had been watching the match. The fourth match on the card was a singles match between Suzumi and Juria Nagano. Juri is a part-time wrestler in TJPW, an action actress, and nurse. Her karate training and moveset helps her stand out from when she wrestles, and Suzumi was a great opponent for her. The match wasn't long, but it didn't need to be. It was more of a showcase match for Juria and Suzume. Suzumi had faced Juria Nagano before in a tag match, so knew what to expect. Suzumi did all she could to dodge and reverse Juria's strikes. Throughout the match, you can see Juri has one strong weapon, her strikes, and if you take that away, she is vulnerable. When able, Suzumi would take Juria down to the mat for a submission hold, which Juria had difficulty escaping. But when Juria was able to land strikes, they were devastating, and she does great striking combinations. It looked like Juria Nagano may win the match after she tossed Suzumi from the top corner and started just peppering Suzumi with punches and kicks. But Suzumi caught one of those kicks and hit a facebuster. A dazed Juria got to her feet, and Suzumi ended the match with her ring-a-bell cutter for the pinfall victory. Juria Nagano doesn't fight that often, but when she does, she looks better each time. I wonder if this will be a situation like Yuki Arai, where she was part-time for the first year and now in her second year is at most shows and feels like a part of the roster. Speaking of Yuki Arai, her match was next, a fun trios match between the team of Yuki Arai, Miyu Watanabe, and Rika Tatsumi versus the team of Yuki Aino, Pam Harajuku, and Raku. This match wasn't as chaotic as would be expected. Both teams played it pretty straight. I was surprised though at how much attention of the match was on Pam Harajuku and Yuki Arai. To start, Pam Harajuku tried to get the jump on Rika Tatsumi, but she was expecting it and caught Pam's kick, and Pam got beat up a bit by the other team. Pam was able to tag out after she landed a drop kick on Yuki Arai, and Raku came in and an Oceanic Express took place. While the match revolved around Pam Harajuku and Yuki Arai, the other wrestlers did get to shine. Miyu Watanabe got a great giant swing off on Raku, and the image of Raku in her frilly dress getting swung was funny, and Rika Tatsumi and Yuki Aino seemed to cancel each other out. Rika had made an effort to target Yuki Aino's leg, but Yuki's leg held up enough that she could show off some of her power moves. There was also a cool simultaneous submission spot where Rika Tatsumi had Yuki Aino in a figure 4 leg lock, Miyu Watanabe had Raku in a Canadian backbreaker, and Yuki Arai had Pam Harajuku in a sharpshooter. After a hard-fought battle between Yuki Arai and Pam Harajuku, it looked like Pam was going to win, but Miyu Watanabe ran in to interrupt the Palm to Justice, the most powerful move in TJPW, and give Yuki Arai the chance she needed. A side slam was followed by a vicious-looking finally axe kick, and Yuki Arai got the pinfall victory. I have a feeling Pam Harajuku and Yuki Arai may have a singles match soon. The sixth match on the card was a special tag team match, Maki Ito and Miyu Yamashita versus the team of Moka Miyamoto with Hikaru Shida from AEW. This was a good match and had some fun interplay between the wrestlers. This match revolved around Hikaru Shida not respecting Maki Ito, and Maki's attempts to force that respect from Shida. This interplay started right away when Hikaru Shida called out Miyu Yamashita to come fight her, ignoring Maki Ito, who proceeded to get in Shida's face and gave her the middle finger. After changing some holds, Maki Ito threw Hikaru Shida out of the ring and grabbed a mic from under the ring. This was a callback to their match last year in AEW when Maki Ito hit Shida in the head with the mic. Maki Ito tried to do it again, but Hikaru Shida took the mic from her and hit Maki over the head instead. Maki Ito has a really hard head, so it didn't affect her, so Hikaru Shida instead hit her in the gut with the mic and threw Maki Ito back in the ring. Moka Miyamoto was the odd woman out in this match. Hikaru Shida and Miyu Yamashita wanted to fight each other, while Maki Ito was demanding Shida's respect, and Moka Miyamoto was kinda just there. Moko handled herself well in this odd situation, getting some offense in and helping when she could, but she was outclassed by the other women in the match. Moka Miyamoto was in the ring against Miyu Yamashita when Hikaru Shida and Maki Ito were dealing with each other on the outside. Moko was doing a good job of keeping pressure on Miyu, but the second skull kick attempt by Miyu Yamashita connected and Moka dropped. Miyu Yamashita gets the pinfall victory and Maki Ito gets a win over Shida's team. It didn't look like the match much changed how Hikaru Shida feels about Maki Ito though. Both Maki Ito and Miyu Yamashita are traveling to the US in May, so I wouldn't be surprised if they pop up in AEW for a match or two to continue this. That brings us to the main event, a Princess of Princess title match between current champion Shoko Nakajima versus Hyper Misao. Hyper Misao came out and challenged Shoko Nakajima for her title last month after Shoko Nakajima had defeated Yuki Aino. Hyper Misao and Shoko Nakajima have history as former tag team partners, and they have an almost annual series of matches during TJPW's first show of the year that has crazy stipulations. I have to be a bit honest, I like those crazy stipulation matches they have, and I was a bit disappointed this match was not one of those. It was instead just a good wrestling match with a minimum of shenanigans. Hyper Misao got on the mic to let us know this was her first time challenging for the Princess title, and she removed 3 cans of cold spray from her persons, letting Shoko know it was gonna be a clean fight. The match then started. Hyper Misao came out and tried to get a flash win by spamming roll-up and pin attempts, but that didn't work. After dodging a dropkick by Shoko Nakajima, Hyper Misao revealed she still had 1 more can of cold spray and sprayed Shoko in the face. This also didn't work though, and after kicking out of her roll-up, Shoko rolled out of the ring to the floor. Hyper Misao hit her I Am a Hero dive onto Shoko on the outside and brought her back in. This is when Hyper Misao's plan changed. Her initial 2 plans to steal a victory didn't work, so she started targeting Shoko Nakajima's arm and shoulder with strikes and submissions. The rest of the match was pretty back and forth, but when able, Hyper Misao would apply pressure to the arm and shoulder. This plan did slow down Shoko Nakajima from the pain, but it wasn't a winning one. A double arm DDT by Shoko got Hyper Misao down and in position for Shoko Nakajima's top corner diving senton, and she got the pinfall victory. Shoko Nakajima retains. In post-match comments, Shoko Nakajima said she would next defend her title at Cyber Fight, which is June 12th, but no challenger came out. There is no clear number 1 contender right now, but in a few days the challenger will be announced. And now is the show. I liked all the matches and recommend watching 2 title matches, the special tag match with Hikaru Shido, and the Reika Saika retirement match if you can watch the whole show. The next TJPW show is on the 5th and looks to be one of TJPW's more lighthearted shows. This has been the Joshi Wrestling Recap for TJPW, May 3rd, 2022. Thanks for listening.